Hey boot campers, so I'm so excited to be doing this training for you guys today because I think it's really going to help you craft posts and learn how to really speak to your ideal client, your ideal coach. So what you're looking at right now is my avatar. I didn't share it the other day, but I wanted to kind of show it to you guys today. So this is my little avatar, and you'll see over on this side, I get really focused in on my avatar because I really want to narrow my market as much as possible when I'm speaking to my ideal client or coach. So for me, when I made my avatar, I don't want to speak to my technically perfect coach who's already coaching right now. I want to speak to the me before I started Beachbody because that's the person I know that I can help. I know it's someone who is just lacking a little bit of confidence, and all they need is the training from me, they need the mentorship from me, and they need to be building their confidence. And I can do those things to help them. And I know that they're coachable because that is the me before I started. And they have pains, they have trigger points that I can hit. So when you make your ideal avatar or client page, it will evolve as you grow, and I highly recommend kind of updating it maybe even every month as you're growing as a coach, because sometimes there's going to be things that you notice that you didn't notice before that you might want to add to your avatar. So mine has evolved over time, and I would say every couple months I just go through and update it because there are things that change. So over the profile, we're not going to go over that, but one little area that I like to add to my client avatar and my coach avatar is their current thoughts and situations, because I want to go back and put myself in the shoes before I started Beachbody, because that person is someone, like I said, who just needs a little bit of mentorship from me to be an amazing coach. So what were my current thoughts and situations prior to becoming a Beachbody coach? I was working somewhere and faking it. I was always thinking, is this it? I felt like there was more out there for me. I felt stuck, but I felt like there was still something, like I had a glimmer of hope that there was still something that I could do. I just wasn't sure what it was. I was in college debt. I was in credit card debts. I was always willing to try something new, cared way too much about what others thought of me. And I never thought that I was good enough yet, but I had hope that I could be good enough. So speaking to the person, that the me before I started coaching, is a healthcare professional or a professional who was told to go to school, was told if you go and you pay for college and if you get a good degree, you are going to live happily ever after. And that's just not realistic anymore. It doesn't happen that easily. I had to move for a job to a city I didn't want to move to, where I knew no one. I had to take a job in a tiny little town because I couldn't find work anywhere else. And I was working my butt off. And the real motivator for me was money. And that was because I was so far in debt that I knew that I had to make the money or I would feel stressed the rest of my life, it felt like. So I was really faking it. I faked that I was so in love with my job and my career, which I did love dental hygiene, but I was overworked. And I felt like I was really just pushing myself too hard to make the money. And that was my motivation. So it really made me resent what I was doing. So I really want to talk to that person in a sense whenever I'm making posts and crafting posts now where I'm at today. I don't want to talk about just where I'm at today. I want to hit pains and trigger points of my ideal client and coach to the me back then. What is something that I could say that would have made me make a move back when I was before coaching? So I just try to think of that. And then history. Parents had money issues and worked their butts off, past yo-yo dieter, quick fixes, diet pills, self-image issues, past binge issues, or eating disorders. Has lived in different cities, moved from home for college, likes change, and adapts well. So for your history part, that is something that I like to list because that's something, those are their pains and their trigger points that I can kind of talk to them about. I don't want to go into all the good things about their history because technically I'm going to know those things within the personality traits, or that's going to stand out to me where I don't need to have that on my avatar. But I want to hit those pains and trigger points. What are things that I can bring up in my posts that are really just going to drop breadcrumbs here and there? And then when I make that coach call out or I make that challenge group call out, they're going to be like, okay, I'm ready. So for me, for example, talking about self-image issues and the quick fixes that I did before and my yo-yo dieting, and really just not making call out posts about that, but talking about it in general really attracts that person to me who is in that situation, who can easily get out of that situation with a little bit of help from me. So I'll show you how to craft those posts here in just a second. Personality traits, I know we already did this, so when you list your personality traits, go through all of the positive qualities and rate yourself on those, because you cannot attract that perfect person if you don't have those same personality traits. Now, I do write on here some negative personality traits because, like I said, I'm not attracting my perfect person right now. I'm attracting my perfect person back before I started. So there are some things like fears, rejection. That is a pain point, so I can talk more about that. So let me go over here. And then activities and interests, just kind of knowing where they're spending their time and what they're doing. And then spends money on. I also want to know where are my clients at? What are they already spending money on? Because that's going to help me not only find them, but I can help, in a sense, get a sense if they are able to afford a challenge pack, afford signing up to coach. But more importantly, it's just crafting posts to really relate to them. And then so I write down all of the dreams or things that this ideal client or coach would want. They just want to feel important. They want freedom. And so the list goes on. And you can do the same thing with your avatar if it makes it easier for you. And you'll notice that on here I said to be a part of a movement and commit for a cause and community for a cause. So for me, when I was a hygienist, I felt like I really wasn't making a difference. And so you'll see that when I make posts on my like page, I talk about that a lot, how I was doing things that really didn't feel like I was changing lives. If anything, I felt like I was insignificant, and my generation really wants to feel significant right now in their life. Why does my generation love volunteering and traveling for missions and things like that? It's because they have a passion for feeling significant now. Our older generations were okay with not doing a whole lot of things that made them feel significant now. They just felt like if they did their duties for 20 to 30 years and retire, that then they would feel significant. And then they'd feel like they, more purposeful. So I think that my generation in general likes to feel significant now. So I like to talk about that in my posts, and it really attracts just amazing dream team coaches to me. So let me pull this up real quick. So this is going to be your assignment for today. I've got the post up here, so just ignore that. I just like to put it in there in case we lose it. So how can you start speaking to your ideal client and avatar by asking yourself important questions and crafting posts to speak to them? So what you're going to do is go through here and ask yourself these questions. So when you ask yourself these questions and you start writing out the answers to them, and I highly suggest just copying this and opening it into a new document, pasting it, and posting your questions or posting your answers to the questions. So you have it saved, and then you can just put it into a link into our comment section. So it makes it easier for you, for us to look at it and see what you're writing down. So what is the number one question I get asked all the time? That's really going to help you figure out what you should be talking more about. So if you get a question asked to you a lot, that means a lot of people have the same question. Maybe you need to make a video about it, and maybe you need to start talking about it more. So in this, it says, what do you do for a living? So I do get asked that quite a bit. What do you do as a coach? So if you tell them you're a health and fitness coach, for those who are looking to lose weight and get healthy, what do they say? Especially if you're talking to someone who looks like they may want to lose weight and get healthier. What do they ask you? So those are the questions that are really going to help you shape your messages, your posts, YouTube videos, and any type of free value that you might be giving to your people who are following you. So the next question is, what should my ideal customer avatar be asking me that they're not asking me yet? So that might be something that you think, I'm really surprised that they're not asking me about this. So for example, it could be, my ideal client or customer should be asking me, how do I get started? And I'm just using an example. So if they're not asking you how they can get started, that means that there's a possibility that you're not talking about it enough. So what is something that they should be asking you, but they're not asking you about? Or how do I get into a challenge group? How do I get Shakeology? if they're not asking you those questions, then you're not talking about it enough. And then number 3, what are my top 3 posts on Facebook in the last 6 months? So go to your posts, and if you have a like page, it's easier to do this. But if you do not have a like page, go to your personal Facebook and remember the posts that really stood out to you, that had a ton of engagement. And look at those and see why those worked and what kind of wording you use, and why do you think that those were more engaging than other posts, and write that down. Which experts do my ideal customer or avatar find valuable, or whose opinion do they really value? So kind of start noticing who your ideal person is following on Facebook, who they like, the pages they like, what they're pinning on Pinterest, what YouTube videos they're watching, so that you can kind of see whose opinions do they value. And so that gives you kind of an idea of what they're into, but also like maybe a better or easier way for you to connect with them and talk to them. What can my ideal customer avatar talk about all day long? So for me right now, of course, it's wedding planning. So for me to be posting about wedding planning on my page is going to engage a lot of conversation, a lot of engagement right now, because those are what my ideal people are talking about already, and they could talk to me about all day long. So it's important for me to talk about that. What is my ideal customer avatar most afraid of? For me, this is failure. So I try to craft posts that talk a lot about failure and give examples of me failing on a daily basis, so that they feel more comfortable to approach me, or they feel like, okay, this could work for me. This coaching thing, it's so my thing, I could work with it. Or this challenge group, I don't feel like I'd fail, and if I do, I know it's a good thing. So just getting their confidence up in themselves enough to ask me about it. What does my ideal customer avatar need to know about me? For me, I want them to know that I'm human. But when I first started coaching, I was trying to be a perfect coach who had no issues, who was the best challenger, who never made mistakes. And if I made them, I didn't want to share that. That was a huge mistake, because I actually probably had people run away from me because they felt fearful. They felt like, I can't do that right now. I don't have the confidence in myself that I can go, the 21 days with this program and be that strict. And so for me to talk about, oh gosh, on day 7, I already screwed up on the 21-day fix, it makes them feel like, okay, I'm human. If this happens, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. And it also helps your challengers that are currently your challengers understand that they don't need to be perfect to be a coach. And so when they see you not being perfect, you'll start getting those quote unquote imperfect coaches who feel like they before wouldn't be a good enough example of a coach. They now feel more comfortable coaching because they see your flaws, and they see that their flaws can actually be their strengths. So that's really important. What is my ideal, What is my ideal customer avatar posting on Pinterest and watching on YouTube? So we talked a little bit about that, but go on both of those platforms and just see the kind of stuff that they like. Do they like makeup tutorials? For the guys, do they like certain car videos? What is it that they are into watching or kind of researching? What is the real need that I can satisfy underneath my ideal customer or avatar's greatest want? I can give them confidence in themselves. So I need to talk about that. When I'm crafting my call out posts, I need to talk about, I can make you feel confident on your wedding day. I can help you do that. That is hitting a lot of trigger points for that person. What could help my ideal customer avatar right now? So when I first started coaching, I was so into making an ebook and making sure that I had, a free ebook to give my people that had recipes and all about clean eating. And the problem with that was it was so long and big that a lot of people would download the book and then they wouldn't really get into it because it felt daunting. And, they were already overwhelmed with life. And here I was giving them a 27-page book. It was just too much for them. So you need to be posting on your social media things that are going to help them now. Like right now, if you post it is going to help them. What is a cooking tip? What is your grocery list? What is a recipe that they could make later today? Something that they can do right now, because that is going to help them engage right then, and they're going to be thankful right then, and you're offering value that they can use right in that moment, not something they can download and then maybe look at later. So just think about that. What are the top 3 things that are preventing my ideal customer from buying a challenge pack, joining my challenge group or my team? What objections are you hearing? So write those down. And once you write down those objections, you're going to start thinking, okay, maybe I should start talking about these objections in my posts. So when I was getting a price objection back in the beginning, I knew that it was something that I was not talking enough about. So I started really building up the value in Shakeology on my personal and on my like page, really talking about the ingredients, how it's helped me, posting more about it. Because when I was getting in private conversations with people, they were, objecting the Shakeology because I hadn't really built up the value in it. So if you're getting those types of objections, you need to build up the value in your Shakeology or whatever objection it is. They don't have time. Okay, well then you need to be posting more on your social media about how you had 30 minutes in the morning and you were running a little bit late, but you still got your workout in. And even though it was only 25 minutes instead of 30, you still got it in and you still made it to work. And now you feel better and you're going to reach your goals. So you need to talk about that. What is something that my ideal or customer avatar is not expecting from me, but if I created it, it would knock their socks off? So for me, I posted my meal plan. And so I just openly shared my meal plan, and that really generated a lot of buzz because people were just so thankful that I gave them my exact meal plan. And that's something you'll see Melanie Mitro do a lot. She shares her meal plan weekly, publicly with everybody because she knows how much value that has in it when she shares it, because it just opens up more conversation. And these people are like, wow, she's sharing this with me without me giving her anything in return, when eventually they will. And she generates a lot of engagement from that. But just keep in mind, there's something that you could probably share that would really, really knock the socks off the people who follow you. What is my ideal customer avatar embarrassed to admit? For me, that's obviously a binge eating disorder. So for me to talk more openly about it and being transparent and letting people know they're normal and it's okay to talk about it, it makes them feel more comfortable to come to me and want to be a part of my team and want to be, a part of our movement as a team. And that's what's really made me proud and made me realize that I really am attracting that ideal person because I'm talking about it in the right sense. Because I will have people come to me and say, I don't know what you're doing as a coach, but you inspire me and I want to do whatever it is. And they have no idea what we do as coaches sometimes. And it's just because I inspired them through their binge eating disorder and help them through that now they want to do that for other people. What has my ideal customer avatar tried in the past that has not worked for them? Other diets, other programs. For coaching prospects, a lot of people have tried other network marketing companies. So I think it's okay to talk about that in your post. So if you're talking about, hey, you know what? I tried Mary Kay in the past. My grandmother was a top sales director, still is, and everybody knows her in Mary Kay. I could have easily walked in and been successful with Mary Kay, but it wasn't my passion. I wasn't passionate about makeup. I suck at makeup. And so for me, I couldn't fake that. I couldn't make that work for me when it wasn't a reality. For me, it was health and fitness. So I had to understand that even though I could have had an easier route somewhere else, that this is where my passion is, and it's what I'm passionate about. And so talking about that, it kind of dispels that objection or that fear of people who have been in jamberry nails or whatever it is they're doing, and they feel like, okay, I failed with that, I'm going to fail with coaching because it's the same thing. But they'll understand that, okay, but this is what I'm passionate about. That's why this will work. What does my ideal customer avatar need to believe before that they buy a challenge pack or join a challenge or join my team? They have to believe that they will be able to make it. They have to have that confidence in themselves and know that it's going to work for them. So I have to build that up in crafting my posts and my call outs and make them really feel like this is it. This is the time it's going to work for you. So anyways, after answering all these questions, you should be able to go through here and start crafting posts that really speak to your ideal client or avatar. That should give you, just by answering these questions, I mean, you're going to have a lot of posts that you'll be able to post about. And that'll really help you craft them throughout the week. I mean, you can say, on this day, I want to talk about, my fears and my failures. And then on this day, yada, yada. You want to go through that and kind of create a system. So down here, I also want to mention this. If you really don't feel like you know your audience yet, it's up to you to start just researching them. You really need to start figuring out who it is that you're trying to connect to. So we went through all the different worksheets before. Just go back through those even after this training and update them, as you go. It's really important to join Facebook groups. So for me, I kind of saw where my clients were spending their time, and I joined those groups. And being a part of those groups has been a huge benefit. And I'm teaching my team to do the same thing. Create a survey. I say create a survey for your end of group challengers. I think that's really important because you can kind of see who and what they are doing that makes them be successful, and some of the things that you can improve on. And another thing is getting on the phone with your ideal clients. So this sounds really scary, but you could actually, at the end of your challenge groups, those who got amazing results, just get on the phone with them and interview them and say, what was it that really kept you going, and what was so different now than before when you failed in the past. And being able to use that as testimonials is huge. And I also shared with you guys my end of group challenge group form, because I like to check in with them at the end of the group and let them rate me. So let me click on this really quick. So as they are rating me, you'll see that I like them to be able to give me an honest feedback, because I want to improve on my future groups. So how was this group beneficial to you? What was your biggest aha moment? But down here, you'll see I want them to rate themselves, but I also want them to rate the program and the Shakeology, the motivation of the group, and me. So I want them to rate me. And I think that's really helpful for you to be able to start attracting your team. And then how to create and add value to your ideal client avatar. So think of something irresistible to your market. What is something, like I said before, just knock their socks off, and give that as free value. What do they need to understand and be aware of or believe in order to move forward? What are the top 3 questions you're constantly asked when you tell people what you do as a coach? What are my audience pain points? What would help ease their pain? And what content would be so valuable that my audience would say, I can't believe that was free. So you want to start creating that type of content and posting it to your social media to really attract them to you. And then once you start building up your list of people, you can start following them in a sense that is a little bit easier. So on Facebook, you may or may not have done this already, but you can create lists of friends. And I have a Facebook video that shows how to do this, but I just make sure that I add people to my dream team list, and I go in there and I interact with them every single day, just making sure that they know that I'm there and that I can go in and interact with them as much as possible, and just kind of see what they're doing, what they're sharing, what videos are they sharing, what pages are they liking, who are their friends, and it makes me even narrow in more. So I hope this training helps you guys craft and create more engaging posts to your ideal market and your avatar. This is something that has helped me tremendously, and I know it's going to help you. Like I said, it evolves over time, but over time you're going to be seeing a lot more yeses, a lot more people coming to you. I'm someone who honestly has never sent a personal invite through messaging. I started doing it probably 2 to 3 months ago, and I started doing it more because it was something that I just didn't think I needed to do, because I had people coming to me. It was like they just kind of were attracted to me. I didn't really have to go too far in depth of reaching out to them. So this will help you do that, and I hope this helps. Bye, guys.